everybody.
Hey, everybody. My name's Jamie. And
Michael.
Yep. And we're
Two of Wands.
Yeah. So, and we're going to talk about the Hermit today.
Number 9.
Number 9. Did you bring... Okay. He asked if I brought my Led Zeppelin album, and it's like, I've got the CDs downstairs, so I didn't get it. Hermit's in there. And you didn't bring your Beatles then, number 9?
No. The Zeppelin's more appropriate. They actually had the Hermit in their fourth album. But
So, I just blanked out there for a second. No, what I was going to say is that, so basically what's going on is that our significant others, we would all get together for dinner, and we would talk about the tarot for hours. And it would drive them nuts. And so me and Mike agreed that we were not going to talk about the tarot until we get together Wednesday, once a week, and then we would talk. And so he comes in and he's like, hey, have you got this? Have you got this? It's like, oh, nope, we're not talking. So I have no clue what he's even going to talk about. He has no clue what I'm going to talk about, other than the fact that we both researched and we're looking at the Hermit.
Yeah.
So.
Or is it?
Or is it the Hermit? Oh, okay, yes.
So, yeah, going back to Petrarch's poems, 14th century, that inspired the tarot with his triumphs.
It did.
He has love, he has chastity, which is the chariot. He's got death, fame. And then
the triumph of time. Yep.
Time, which we know as the Hermit, but it started out
well, hold on. If we're going to say that, then, so what is Mike talking about? Well, the tarot did not come from Egypt.
No.
It developed over time in Europe after the cards, after the 4 suits came probably from the Middle East or some parts of Asia. So, this gentleman wrote a poem. How do you pronounce his name? Petrarch.
Petrarch, yeah.
And this poem inspired all these people during the Middle Ages. I mean, there's all these portraits and paintings from the Middle Ages inspired by it.
Yep.
And so, the same way it inspired the paintings, it also inspired a 5th suit in the card game.
Yeah.
And that's where the word triumph comes from.
Yep. And one card triumphs over the other.
And a triumph was when you would have a parade.
Correct.
And each person would come one before the other. And his play describes that triumph, what comes in the order that Michael already said. So, now that we've referenced that...
Thank you for... Yeah.
We're going to cover the history first, if you haven't noticed.
But yeah, so time comes after a whole bunch of those other triumphs, because even after you die, even after your fame diminishes, the time marches on. So that's why it comes later on. But we're getting to it now.
Yeah.
But this the traditional representations of Father Time he's this old man. He's often hunchbacked, and he's got now look at this.
Well, we can.
Yeah. So
are you going to pull out your Visconti, or are you going to pull out somebody else?
I'm going to pull out somebody else first.
Okay.
I'm going to go back to the Rothschild cards.
Oh, you went ahead and printed that out.
Which is 15th century.
Yep.
And it's kind of hard to see because this is pretty poor quality, but he's got wings and crutches, and then like an obelisk in the background there. Now those, that is an old card, and thanks for joining us. So this one, it's time flies, so that's why he's got wings. And time can go slowly. That's why he has crutches. And these are old, representations of Father Time. He's often hunchbacked, like I was saying. Sometimes you see him with a scythe, kind of like Death has, because he reaps. And then and an hourglass, of course. The hourglass, which is the sands of time, opportunity lost and cannot be regained. The sand, just trickles down and disappears, right? So that's now over the time, no pun intended, but over time, his hourglass changes into a lantern. So here, let me show you some other old cards. So here's another one with him on crutches. And then
here, here we go. Because you are actually pulling directly from.
Yeah.
I can just pull up the book here and show some of these pictures because that's what I was going to do.
yeah, please.
So here we go. So yes, so here he is on crutches as being described,
Right.
and these are the older, versions of it.
Yeah. Now, so this one here is from the Minchiati deck, and I've got that as well. Here's my Minchiati deck, and you see the deer that's in the background there. That is because on the Triumph parades, his chariot was actually pulled by a deer. Right?
Yep.
But it's the old man again with the. So that's why you see in the Minchiati decks, he's got a deer there and a deer there. But here's wings from some of these older decks from the 1600s. Okay, and here's another one that goes way back.
And here, show the wings.
Yeah.
Just so we
gotcha.
can see on
yeah.
this one
Sorry.
here.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
On it.
Now,
Just making sure we're all on the same page. So okay. Yep.
Yeah,
So you got
there
the
we
wing
go.
ones there.
Yep. Okay. Now, this one here. Let me slide that up. So I'm comparing. We've got two feeds going on here, so that's why. Sorry, I'll make sure that you see it too. But if you want to double stream us, Jamie is on MyTarot on Twitch, and I'm Offbeat Artwork. So
and actually, if you want to do it, either that or we also have a group that we manage.
we're also on Facebook.
So Facebook MyTarot is where the comments and stuff you can go there.
You can find us lots of places.
Yes.
But anyway, going back to this comparison here, I wanted to show you. So this is a this is from the Mantegna cards, which are very early 15th century, and this is also very early. This is the actually here's a bigger card of that. That's the Visconti Sforza, which is the first tarot cards that we still have in existence. Now I wanted to put those side by side so that you can see something interesting. The Mantegna card has Saturn eating babies as he does, but look at the stick. The stick. Let me show you real quick. The stick. And he's eating babies, but he's got this stick, and the Hermit's got the stick, and it looks very much like they were, ripping off each other there. They were inspired by each other. The placement just looks like one was copying the other. Now, there's a little bit of confusion between Saturn and Time, Father Time, because the names were really close. So Kronos, Chronos, is the god of time. And Kronos, Kronos, is Latin for Saturn.
Right.
So there's a little bit of confusion there, but they kind of like got mixed together in the mythos, Saturn and time. But you'll see some correlations go back and forth between the two. But going back to the original, interpretations of Father Time, you'll see all these repeating themes where he's got the crutches, he's got the wings, he's got the hunchback, and all these things are in the Hermit. So is it the Hermit or is it Time? And for my sorry,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
So for my deck, I'm working on my own.
Oh, that's it. So yes. So the other thing we're doing, why we would end up talking so much about it, is that because Michael is creating a deck.
Yeah, not just any deck, but a
not just
100 card master deck. I'm pulling out archaic cards that were like part of the tarot before, but not so much anymore, and I'm putting them back in the deck, and I'm fleshing it out and making it like a mix of old and new. It's going to be really amazing when it's done. But my Hermit card, I'm actually calling Time, going back to the earliest roots, and paying tribute to where the Hermit came from.
Right.
Fun. Yeah, so it's fun.
And it's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait till people can actually see it.
Well, yeah, give you a little. I'm about halfway through. It's been years in the making, and probably another year before it's done. But yeah. Let's see here. So okay, so the hourglass becomes the lantern, and why the lantern? So the lantern is the light of truth. It's a revealer. Because time will tell.
Well, hold on. Okay. This part is speculation.
It's total speculation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and see, Mike's the esoteric guy.
Yep.
I'm the secular guy.
Sure.
So.
Well, I mean, we
Well, yeah. We go back and forth. Yes. But I question everything.
Have you managed to power through that bit of artist block? Yes, thank you. Yeah, I was having a little bit of struggle get back up and going again. I took a few weeks off, but I am back.
Oh yeah,
I am back. I'm actively creating again. Thank you for asking. But yeah, so speculating.
Yep.
Why?
I'll tell you why I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And so.
Why do you think it changed to a lantern?
Well, I think the reason is because whoever looked at the pictures, again, these pictures are based on, some rich duke's cards. He's not going to have a whole lot of time with them. So to me, when I see the two, it's like, that I don't see that as a hourglass. I see it as a lantern. Let me draw that real quick.
Right.
So I think plain and simple, it's just...
Sloppy copying
as it goes through. So this is the Noble deck, which is one of the oldest cards that were mass produced. Yeah. Because they were woodblock cuts. Yeah. And then, so they're one of the oldest ones. But I think it was just accidental. Okay, go ahead.
Absolutely. And that might be, a lot of things got muddied. Now look at this this other card. It's kind of interesting how this hunchback kind of looks like wings. So maybe even the wings got muddled into a hunchback.
Well, what's interesting with that is that I'm wondering if that's a hood.
It could have been a hood.
Because it's also known, the card is known as I forgot the Italian phrase for it, but hunchback.
Yeah.
So it's also known as the hunchback.
But I'm wondering.
But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm speculating here. But were those originally wings? Maybe
right. Somebody might have seen it and said, let's
make them into a hunchback.
Because that's not as obscure as other stuff that we've seen.
Right. Who knows? 14. No, not winged. Says Benjamino. Who knows? It's the earliest incarnations of he thinks it's garments. Absolutely.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, yeah. But
no, we can agree on. But the same way
you can see things evolve and
as we talked about with the other decks, it's like. It's a game of telephone. So somebody saw the Visconti deck and they copied that real quick, and then somebody saw his copy and then his copy until finally
it changes and
it barely looks like it.
It's in the start, but some other interesting things. So you'll often see 3 wrinkles in his forehead, and that could refer to the what was, what is, and what will be, the 3 aspects of time, past, present, and future. You also sometimes see it in 3 forks of the beard.
Okay, so now we're already jumping into the interpretation and stuff like that. Okay, so let's make sure we covered everything.
Oh, you want to go back? Okay,
yeah. Because we're talking about Father Time, and now you're jumping to something different. You're jumping to the Hermit.
Yeah. We can go back. We want to go back to Father Time?
Well, no, because now it's like, since we're moving towards the Hermit.
Sure.
Why would people, as they get these cards, these gamblers, these game players, be looking at it? And I thought it was just interesting that during the 1500s, 1400s, that they would see the Hermit in a particular way. So you had like Saint Anthony, you had who lived the Hermetic lifestyle, and it was very famous. So it's saying in here, the Hermit seeks solitude, meditation, contemplation, prayer, and self-awareness, And so we already know this, and this is where we start pulling that into our readings.
But
the other thing about St. Anthony that everybody knew back then, so if they saw the Hermit, they see this picture.
Okay.
And they know that with the Hermit, the other thing that St. Anthony talks about, that in the writings about St. Anthony, is that the big thing is about with the ascetic lifestyle is giving everything away, just like you see in the Bible, just like it says in Matthew. If you want to be perfect, go sell what you have, give to the poor, and you will have treasures in heaven. So
that's again more interpretation.
Well, no, I'm saying that if I'm in the 1500s, I go to church, or I get hanged.
Okay.
And so we know what hermits are in the Bible,
right? But going on,
or in the Catholic Church, I should say. Yes.
Sure, but they're not the only game in town. So
in the 1500s they were
actually. So if we're going down the speculation route, there's two different paths you can go. You can go they were inspired by
speculation. Go ahead.
Hold on. I know I'm wrapping up.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two different things that I see. One is that it's paying tribute maybe to the even original tarot. Is how it's customary to depict a patron in the work. So you've got a robe and a lantern. Oh, it must be a brother from a fraternity. Italian fraternity, that kind of thing. So it's the holy man, that kind of thing. You're St. Anthony, all that.
Yeah.
Right. Or it could be around those times there were these mystic holy men that were not Christian.
Right.
They weren't friars or pilgrims. No, they were often radical idealists, not as educated, and they would get out there and they would say, "Hey, let me tell you how these truths are. I'm a mystic holy man. Listen to me." And they were a lot of the time they were anti-papal.
Footnotes.
Footnotes.
No, I'm saying because remember I always ask for footnotes.
Because
when you're basing the tarot, I mean that's going far afield, and in Italy, it is a Romans. I mean the Holy Roman See. I mean even though the dukes were battling out with the Pope and all this other stuff, it still was church based.
But all I'm saying is that yes, there was the church, but there was also, you remember in Life of Brian, how.
Well, we're talking about
Okay,
we're talking about 2,000 years ago, which has, but these people who are here are not thinking about that.
Oh, I'm saying that there is when you're speculating, there's two different paths you can go.
I'm not speculating. I can tell you where I get my information. No, it's documented.
It's documented that
these are pictures that people know. They're not drawing pictures of things that they don't know.
I know.
And if they were, then there would be a poem, there would be a scripture, there would be a manual. Somebody would have document that says, except for the crazy holy man that we have living in the mountain, eating juniper from a juniper bush.
I'm just saying that.
Speaking of Life of Brian,
that we do, yes, but we do have historical documentation. I don't have it on
dealing with the tarot. Dealing specifically with the tarot. Okay, go ahead.
We do have historical documentation of these holy men that weren't quite holy. They're preaching things that weren't quite church sanctified. And they were just as popular as the traditional friars were. So both of them existed at the time.
I'm listening.
All right. So both of them existed at the time. If we're speculating, the tarot could be inspired by either or both, or who knows? We don't know.
If that's true, then the person that you're talking about, that holy man who's not really, a Christian, who's not a Catholic, he actually shows up twice in the tarot then.
Where's the other time?
When he's the hangman. Because they're going to hang his ass.
Possibly.
Oh, no. It's either burn or hang him, one of the two.
Well, I don't know about all
Blasphemer!
Right. They had to put up a lot. They had to. It's not like he was starting at his own church. He was just kind of like preaching.
Okay.
And he was saying that, hey, this is the word of God, and the way I see it. and the church is getting upset. Hey, that's not actually what that's not actually sanctified by us, but it's kind of hard to shut them down. It's like an internet chat room. It's like there's freedom in the speech in the streets unless you get caught.
Right. Okay, so
until Zuckerberg comes down.
So what I have here for my notes is that the depiction of the hermit varied in the earliest representations. In 1470,
yes,
Ferrara manuscript, a Franciscan sermon, 1, lists the trumped cards of the tarot. The manuscript lists the 11th, not the 9th card.
Right.
There's not the hermit, but El Gobo, meaning the hunchback.
There's a little mixing up of the numbers in those early days.
Right, but other sets of the area call him El Vecchio, the old man, and El Tempo, time. But this is during a Franciscan sermon that they actually mention it.
Right. That's the first written accord of some of the ordering of the trumps. But yeah, so
okay.
There's lots of speculation and things. Who knows?
And that's the fun part.
Exactly. But going back to let me see here. So going back to the lantern symbology,
actually, if we're going to stick with history,
okay.
There's one more thing.
One more fact.
One more thing that it's not a fact. Something that you're probably going to want to hit on.
Okay. What are we going?
Okay, so we're still going back. So Michael? What about the people who think that the hermit might actually be prudence? One of the virtues. One of the virtues, not one of the fates. One of the virtues.
So there are some. So they were saying, hey, there's these virtues, and everybody knows them, and we've got 3 of them that are definitely in the tarot. Why don't we have that 4th? Why don't we have the 3 other ones? Well, we actually do in some of the tarots, but so there was some stretching. And people are like, oh, maybe the hermit is prudence. I don't buy that.
Neither do I. And they said that because he has the hourglass and he's looking at time and all this other stuff. And they even said, with the lantern, the time. But yeah, so I mean,
well, he's got the snake.
It really is. And I'm sorry, it's not the lantern. By that point, we have gotten to the lantern. It's not with the hourglass because it was people like Levi who believed it. It was people like
Worth.
Yeah, thank you. Oswald Worth.
Yep.
People like that.
So Worth, and I'm not sure if he. I'm not sure about the prudence. Is that correct?
Yeah. Or at least my document says it.
Well, that might be. So he does have the snake, which is linked to prudence. So that might be true. But what I find interesting is in his version and many other versions, actually, you'll see there. Actually, the Marseille also has it.
Is that my worth or your worth?
That's mine.
Nope. I think you grabbed my worth.
Did I? Nope. This is mine.
Where'd my worth go?
I don't know.
I have no worth.
There it is. Okay, so
I have no worth.
You've got plenty of worth. But yeah, in the worth and in the Marseille, you'll see him covering up the lantern. Now that.
And that's his robe. Yes, you can see how the robe is covering it.
So why that might be, I'm speculating here, but the powerful wisdom is given to those who are discreet in what they reveal to others. And so you may not understand the path that you and you alone must follow. You understand it, but others might not. And so that's why it's sometimes it's good to mum's the word and keep some things covered up.
Right.
That's why he's got the...
And so that's going into the esoteric. Originally with the Noble, again, when we did that, which is one of the originals. And then, you go to the Converse, which comes out. Yeah. And then you start getting into the 1700s where you start getting into the esoteric.
Right.
And then, yes. So, and what we mean by that is that there were these Rosicrucian clubs. No, there were these secret organizations. And each one had to have their own secrets, otherwise they wouldn't be a secret organization.
That's true.
Yes, and so they started developing their esoteric...
Their mythos, sure.
And a lot of people don't know it, but a lot of these organizations, the Golden Dawn and things like that, the tarot was a major part.
Absolutely. In many magical occult organizations, the tarot came on. They just really gravitated towards it and said, hey, I'm seeing all these things that are important to me in these cards, and I'm going to definitely connect them for our organization, and then it just grows and becomes, divinatory tool, and more than that, just an explainer of all these secrets and mysteries, which is I find really fascinating and fun. So another one of those about the lantern is that sometimes it's scary to see how things really are, but you do that shadow work where you're without reflection, we're all lost in the dark. Mm-hmm. So it's shining a light in these dark areas of the soul, so that you can have wisdom, the wisdom of the hermit, right?
Yep.
So that's the whole.
So I like what Joe Dworsky says on that.
Yeah.
So Joe Dworsky, which is the Way of the Tarot, which is a really good book.
Yeah.
But he says that the hermit represents a passage into the unknown. He actively terminates his relationships with the old world and becomes receptive towards an unknown future over which he exercises no mastery.
Yeah. So it's
going into that unknown. It's letting go, moving forward.
That reflection and that search within. Yeah.
So, and I see that. So
the know thyself.
When going through the journey of the tarot with the Fool's journey, mm-hmm. What I think is interesting is that, so he goes through all the earthly things and all this stuff like that. So he's got earthly, he learns about society, he learns about religion, he learns about love, he learns about justice. And then we come to the hermit who finally decides, it's like the fool maybe actually acquired all this stuff along the journey.
Right.
And what good did it get him?
So, yeah, and here's the thing. It's number 9, which is the last number of the cycle, right?
Yep.
So it's all about completion. And where are we? We're at the mountaintop again. We're the same place where we started with the fool. But this time, we've picked up some wisdom. We're completing the first cycle.
Yeah, I think he says it in there also, and I don't know, I didn't write it down or anything, but he talks about the number 9 being the ending of the old and the beginning of the new.
In the next cycle, exactly.
And so there's different ways to look at numerology. I did put it down here. Numerology announces both the beginning and an end.
Yes.
So with numerology, some people will say after that you go to 10 and it's 1 plus 0 equals 1. Then you go to 11, 1 plus 1 equals 2. Yeah. And then 13, which goes into 4. And Michael, I think, agrees with me.
I do.
I think that
I don't like it that way.
It's this karma thing where we go through these cycles. We go through 1 through 10.
Yep.
Then after we've gone through that life or that cycle, we go 1 through 10 again, but at a new and different level.
At a higher level. Yeah.
At a higher level. So the first is the earthly plane, 1 through 10.
Yep.
And then from there, we go into more of an ethereal, more into a cosmic level.
It's just a higher level, yeah.
A higher level
of thinking.
With the next
set. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so, but going back, because there's a few more points that I wanted to make. Okay, so the lantern thing again. Lighting the way for others. Mm-hmm. So there's this story of
Diogenes. Diogenes, yep.
Yep. And he's walking through Athens.
Yep.
It's daylight out. The sun's shining.
Yep.
And he's looking for an honest person with his light. Yes.
Guess what, Michael?
You're not finding me?
I'm not finding one.
Come on, I'm honest. I'm honest Abe.
Yeah. Never trust anybody who says they're honest.
Never trust anyone over 30. But anyway, so it's this lighting the way for others is the whole lantern, but for me, it'll always be an hourglass. I just see it as...
And that's how you're going to do it in your card.
Yes.
So, and I will, when I'm reading, I'm always going to take a look at what the card is, and if the card's got a lantern, I'll use it as a lantern. Well, if it's an hourglass, I know what you're saying. I'll have my own mindsets to it.
I'm gonna have the hourglass glowing. So that, if people...
It could be.
Exactly. But it's definitely going to have sand.
Right.
But, so some other connections to the sun. So remember how I was saying how in those early cards he had that obelisk behind him? So that was used as a sundial, and again connecting it.
Which card would that be?
This early one.
An obelisk behind him.
From the Rothschild sheets from the 15th century. So you can see this obelisk behind him.
Okay. Let me see that.
That is a sundial to tell time with. And that kind of has a correlation with number 19, the sun.
That's considered a sundial?
Yeah, this obelisk, yep, and here comes the sun rays, and it's one of the, and another thing that is pertains to time is he's going through a doorway, which is moving from one environment to another. So it's kind of, going through time as you were taking the next step. But yeah, all these time references, I mean, it's just packed in those early cards, and then it just kind of whittles away and becomes like just a hermit on the hill. But it's Father Time, Yeah,
I didn't see any references as to why. And I guess I should read. Yeah, I've only read the poem like a couple times.
Yeah.
But I think I don't remember if it references wings. But I wonder.
Time flies.
Wonder how. Yeah.
Yeah.
What that and that. Oh, actually, very good. Yeah.
Time flies, or time moves slowly when he has the crutches. But yeah, in the poem, I don't think that they were any specific.
Mentions of wings.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
They were talking about time more abstractly.
Yeah.
Without the.
His time is the destroyer. Is what it talks about.
Sure. Yeah, it's many, and now Speaking of but going back to the snake, I keep flip flopping. I apologize, but the snake that you're thinking might have been connection to Prudence for the Worth deck. And you'll see the snake also turn up in other decks as well. But actually, some are saying that is the snake of Asclepius, who and the snake imparts secret knowledge of healing and medicine, because time heals all wounds. So another little reference to time.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Oh man. So the symbol is, well, how about this? You might know then.
Yeah.
For the caduceus, it's got the snakes going up.
Yeah.
And I know that represents Hermes.
That's Hermes. That's something different.
The snakes,
but it's medicine. And,
right. I can't remember what the snakes represent on that.
It's wisdom and
yeah, I think
again,
it's
that secret
like
knowledge.
That, but just when you were talking about the snakes, I know the snake can represent a lot of different things. And also, the snake, if I'm thinking Middle Ages, and I've got a book on symbolism, I should look that up.
But do you think even back with Adam and Eve, the snake was tempting, yes, but what more? It was tempting them with knowledge.
The snake was evil. The snake is considered Satan itself.
In some ways, but in
reality, then, if we think of it like this, and this is interesting. Now I'm going to go into the speculation, but they're shining the light on it.
Right. No, the snake as being evil isn't really seen that way at all in the occult societies. The snake is seen as
well, I understand that, but now we're still talking about what year is this one from?
That one is 19th century, so that's later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the snake didn't come along until
later.
Later.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
So yeah, it's not referenced in any, because this one just looked like it had some age to it, but that's 1800s. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm checking my other deck. Okay, go ahead.
Worth is it's about the time of Worth where the snake starts getting introduced into them.
Right.
But it's definitely connecting him with wisdom.
Yeah, and the older Italian decks, they don't have it.
Just the lantern.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, when they say older, these are actually.
I thought the one that you're showing was older than that. That's good. Okay.
Yeah. And the let's see here, speculation. Okay, yeah, and then tell me when you're ready. We can go into the future, into the later decks.
Sure. Well, let me see. Oh, we got it. He is false prey. Let's go ahead.
Okay, so skipping ahead to Rider-Waite-Smith, we've got the Hermit here, and notice that gray again. Anytime you see gray in this deck, it's wisdom. So you've got the Hermit on the hill, and look at it, and his right hand is holding the lantern. The left hand is holding the staff, suggesting that it's a little uneasy in your subconscious side. When you're going into those darker.
Well, the right hand is the stronger one.
Right, that's the light.
That's the dexter. The sinister is the left. So,
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just following what you were saying. So now we're moving into
interpreting.
But
yeah, so the left hand holding the staff could mean that it's a little shaky going into those darker reflections of yourself, knowing yourself, that kind of thing, and that's why he's got the crutch of the staff in the left hand, and the light shining into those dark areas with his right, so he's gaining the wisdom.
Okay.
But yeah, and then the lantern has the six-sided star, which is referencing of the Solomon seal, where it's as above, so is below, and again, it's the wisdom that it's emphasizing with these later decks, that the light is granting wisdom.
Okay.
But then moving ahead into
I was just gonna say, so then. So like Oswald Wirth was kind of like an in between the two. He comes along in the late 1800s.
Yeah. So after Wirth comes, after Rider-Waite comes Wirth closely after.
Well, this is before.
Oh, Wirth is first?
Wirth is first.
Gotcha.
So, and he based his on the Marseille.
Yes.
So I think the Wirth was like 1890. So since
let's see, I've got it here.
So for me, when I'm reading, and I had learned the esoteric stuff and things like that, and I've always done the Rider-Waite.
1889 Wirth.
Yeah, and it's just interesting. It's like the more that I've studied the history and the, and the Marseille, it's like, so now when I see that lantern, it's, this is the point.
Okay.
Is that the lantern, it shines a light on truth. It's everything that you're saying.
Yep.
And a lot of no, it's not even a but. But it's a correspondence.
Yeah.
So people, when you are using the tarot, this can mean pretty much the same thing as everything, but we add the mystical correspondences.
Exactly. It's just one more layer. Yep.
Yeah. But you don't need to know it to read the tarot.
No, of course not.
And that's what confuses a lot of people.
No, yeah. So you can read the tarot without any knowledge of anything. You can just look at the pictures and say, what does these pictures, correspond to you? And you don't. And when I first started reading, way back in high school, that's exactly how I did it. And I had a deck that didn't even follow the decks very closely. I had that James Bond deck where a lot of the cards just do their own thing, but it didn't matter because it becomes like an oracle deck. Who cares? As long as you're seeing things, you can divine. Now, there's more powerful decks that are enriched with all this symbols and history that allow you to tap into the greater consciousness and see things that a lot of people see, and most decks have these themes that definitely they all copy each other. So it's so that you've got these strong things that resonate with a lot of different people. But you can read without any knowledge. You just say, hey, well, this looks like this. And
so here's a question for you.
Yeah.
One thing that I did notice, or actually especially sitting here, is that this is one of the major cards that has probably the least amount of esoteric hidden knowledge. I just it makes me, now that we're sitting here talking about it, it makes me wonder where Wright would have hidden his little symbols. And I have not tried looking that up on here because, I was looking at all the historical stuff and I didn't really look at the Wright. And so Wright would, would throw blinds in, and he throws in these things, but he's got his little esoteric hidden things in his stuff. And
this one's pretty straightforward.
I didn't think to check about that, but as important as this card is...
So they say that he's, in profile because he is, he's looking to the divine, and the Hermit is never lonely. So he's facing God is basically why he's in profile, some say. He's this non-selfish servant of the triple goddess moon, which is, again, that triple 3 times 3, it's the 9 again. But yeah, that's, he could be looking backwards towards the past, or he could be in profile because he's got his face towards the divine is
okay.
One interpretation.
I'm just looking. I'm just looking in here because I'm curious now as you're talking.
Yeah.
Just again because I don't focus on the Rider Waite anymore, like I used to.
Right.
And so since we're talking about it, he's got the I do know that he talks about only the lamp is okay. The variation from the conventional models in this card is only that the lamp is not enveloped partially in the mantle of its bearer,
not hiding.
And so he intentionally did that. So, in the mantle, who blends the idea of the ancient of days with the light of the world. It is a star which shines in the lantern.
The Star of David, yeah.
Yeah. So, therefore, the Hermit is not, as Court de Gebelin explained, a wise man in search for truth and justice, nor is he, as a later explanation proposes, an especial example of experience. His beacon intimates that where I am, you also may be.
Ah, very zen.
I feel deep.
Very, very zen.
Yes.
But now, now that we've pit stopped at Rider Waite Smith,
I know where we're going now.
Yes. Let me dive into Crowley's thought because you know me.
Yes.
I do love me some Crowley. Okay, so
and I just want to refer that it's like I thoroughly understand, respect. The deck itself.
Yes.
Not a fan.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
It hasn't even grown on you a little bit?
No, a lot of people
it was starting
are. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, I mean, and what I mean by that is like, I've got close to 100 decks. It's just another one in there, but it's not
close to 200.
It's not one that I've ever felt drawn to.
It definitely is an acquired taste.
So tell me about it.
Okay, so
tell me all about this deck.
I shall. So this card. Okay, so first of all, Crowley has asked Harris to make the Hermit in the shape of the Yod, which is the first letter of the holy name of God that cannot be pronounced. It's the Tetragrammaton. And so the Yod translates as hand, and right in the center of the card is his hand, and he's holding the lantern, which is shining the truth, all the similar symbology that we all have already talked about. However, we've got some extra stuff going on in this one. So we've got Cerberus. The 3-headed hound of hell, because the Hermit never stops searching, even at the gates of hell, and so that's why he.
So they're the guardians to the underworld.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there's the world egg right here, which is also called the Orphic egg.
Is that the?
And that's a sperm. Yep.
Yeah. Well, now which one's the egg?
The egg's up here.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's essential to remove yourself from others occasionally to prepare and to create. that's one of the main lessons of the Hermit. And create is a big part of this card. So they call the Hermit of the Crowley deck the father of the tarot. He's the creator, and here is the egg being about to be, impregnated. But it's this creation energy of knowledge and just all that creative energy that's going on. But Crowley was saying how it's not interested in protecting the spiritual world in a dogmatic way, the Hermit. Instead, he seeks truth behind ideas. And this requires silence, humility, concentration, and going deep into the self. And you have to use caution when you do that because there's a lot of dark areas. But that's that's what's shining bright here. It's that shadow work. It's knowing thyself. It's going in and exploring the darker sides of yourself and gaining wisdom from that, which is a big part of this interpretation. And then you've got him, the stooping figure, but this is not old age for this. It's actually tough and flexible, like taking a step backwards before going forward, retreat to advance kind of thing. Like he's it's all about that power and that energy that can be a part of this card.
Okay.
So it's just a whole nother layer. So you got all these different layers, and then you just keep with each incarnation of the cards. It's just like, well, let's add some more on top.
So are you going to use any of his interpretations on your Hermit when you make your card?
Well, yes and no.
Because I'm wondering, you pull a lot of the thought out.
I do.
And so it just makes me wonder what symbolism or what
am I gravitating towards?
Why each time we do one of these you feel that's the card to pull out.
Right.
The Thoth deck.
And it's just, well, I like to, it is such an important part of the history of the tarot with the Marseille, the Rider-Waite-Smith, and the Crowley Thoth deck are the three most known decks out there. You could say that all other tarots are basically a variation on one of those. So to not include the Thoth,
not a lot of people will.
The Thoth deck is definitely one of the big three.
Well,
not for you.
No. I'm saying that when I go into forums, when I talk to people, when I see them, the Thoth deck almost never comes up.
Maybe not in the forums that you go to, because you're going into most of the Marseille ones.
No, because I do go into a lot of the esoteric forums. I mean, I'll learn all those different.
I'll send you some. Other groups.
I'm sure there's probably some groups that are into the esoteric
and the Thoth deck especially.
But what I'm saying is that in society, now again, you have your underground.
Yes,
but as society as a whole, people who are learning the tarot. During the 1970s, when the tarot started really springing up. The Thoth deck was still considered an underground thing. In the 80s, it gained some popularity, but still, it's kind of like between Apple and Windows. It's like Windows is ubiquitous, but you have Apple users who still say that PC is the best.
Right. So I'm an Apple user.
and I'm a PC user. And I'm also more of the Rider-Waite-Smith user.
And I like the Crowley.
Okay.
But they both exist. I don't know if I think that the Crowley deck may be more popular than you give it credit.
No, it is a popular deck.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's one that's even more popular other than, I just don't see a lot of people digging into it the way they do with the Rider-Waite-Smith. Creating based on the Rider-Waite-Smith, studying the Rider-Waite-Smith.
There's definitely derivative decks.
Here in the United States, it's like that's all there is the Rider-Waite-Smith. And me talking about the Marseille, the Thoth is probably more popular in the United States, if you think about it.
Than the Marseille?
Than the Marseille.
I don't know. The Marseilles definitely have a huge resurgence. And I think that both the Marseille and the curly deck are becoming more popular because of the Rider-Waite. But, I mean, there's no question the Rider-Waite is definitely king. But at least here in the States. But
oh, okay. And actually, we have diverged.
Yeah.
So
anyway. Yeah. Okay. So
and this is how our lives would go nuts, because all of a sudden it's like we're talking, 10 different levels.
I know.
Okay. So anyway, yes, and you are going to use parts. What part of that are you going to use in yours?
Okay. So I definitely love the idea of it being connected to the sun, because you got it's being the 9th card, the sun is the 19th card, so I'm definitely keeping in all those sun references with the obelisk that makes a sundial behind him. I've got the but I am giving him wings. I am giving him a staff so he can move quickly or slowly.
Mm-hmm. And
I am giving him a 3-notched belt, so to reference the past, present, future.
Yep.
Instead of the forehead wrinkles. I am giving him, a long white beard. And let's see, how else? Oh, and I'm definitely including the snake. So I've got the snake down there by his ankle. I love that the time heals all wounds. So
yeah.
I'm definitely including a snake in there.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, it's gonna be, he's holding the hourglass, but I'm having it glowing so that it can resonate for people that know it either way. If you know the Hermit with a lantern, then it'll look like a glowing lantern. But if you see it as time, you can definitely see it as time, because I'm gonna have the sand grains going down. So that's what I'm doing with
yep.
most of my cards. I'm trying to give just enough of everything so that if you're old school, I love the Marseille, there's going to be
yeah.
enough there that's in there for you. If you're old, if you're more newer school, then there's going to be clues or things that you're going to resonate with. So I'm trying to make like this one deck that will have, it'll look like a little bit of everything. It's like
right.
the mashup.
So one other thing that is interesting about almost all decks, except for a few of the historical references that I find interesting, when it comes to reading almost all decks, he looks in one direction.
He works to the left usually.
He's looking to the left,
to the
which
past.
For us who are into the reading, he's looking into the past. He's reflecting on the past. He is taking what he's already learned on that journey,
yes,
on the Fool's Journey, and he has turned around now, and he is now looking to see where he came from, so that he can move to the next level.
Yes, reflect before you advance.
So, and it's interesting because I was reading there are some references, people who see a lot of similarity between the Fool and the Hermit.
Absolutely. He's on the mountaintop.
Well, he's given up everything. So him and the Fool are both homeless for the most part.
Right.
They have nothing except what's on their back. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times hermits will maybe do small labor, but they also will also take handouts from others.
Sure.
As people come to these wise men to try and seek knowledge.
It's a fitting.
So for me, it is a circle. It's like going from, again, I mentioned that earlier, but now it really is.
It's a loop.
Full path.
Yeah. Here's the start would be the Fool, if you want to put the Fool at the beginning, and here's the Hermit and he's back on the mountaintop.
Yep. So is there anything that we did not cover?
Let me see here. I think I got all my notes.
The only other thing I got is that one of the interesting things that I'm just going to keep at the back of my head now is that, because I was reading about St. Anthony, and one of the things that he did is about how St. Anthony fought the devil, being afflicted, and it's written that he was afflicted with boredom, laziness, phantoms of women, which he overcame with the power of prayer. but it made me think about, all the hardships and pains, psychological, spiritual terror that he was subjected to. So how can that influence my readings? And that's something, because once that gets lodged in my head, it's like, it's true. A hermit is out there and he is battling all these things to stay out there. And so it's just a whole nother level, because somebody else, in some of the interpretations, it's about selfishness, it's about closing things off, it's about this.
They only reversed. I wouldn't call them as selfish.
Well, I know, but
it's important to guard those solitary moments.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying that based on this, it's like I can see that even a hermit, and he's gone through 1 through 8 to become the hermit.
Yeah.
And then the hermit's gonna have, day 1 when you're a hermit, I'm all excited, I'm gonna go camping. Day 970,
right.
There's the boredom,
right.
There's this.
Sure.
You start hallucinating because you ate the wrong mushrooms, and you start battling your demons.
Right.
So think about all the different levels, and hating the world and loving the world and hating God and loving God and everything else that he goes. So sure. I can see that there are these different levels.
Absolutely.
When looking at a hermit, we just see the wizened old man. We don't see the fact that this was the fool who started out in his early 20s, and then by the time he's 40,
right.
he ends up at this mountaintop.
He's the grumpy old man.
And now we see him at 90 years old now.
Yeah.
Here's the fool 50 years later, sitting on this mountaintop.
Yeah.
So what has this hermit even gone through? So that's the reflection and the wisdom. And so so that's the wisdom. That's how he gains the wisdom, is through the nightmares that he goes through.
Right. that shadow
the loneliness and everything else.
Yeah. But it's essential to navigate the complexity of life, is to take a time out and but hopefully we regain society afterwards.
And the importance of that, though, is that he knows suffering.
Yeah.
And I had just never thought of it that way. A hermit, part of their raison d'etre is to suffer. So when he's looking out at somebody, he knows suffering. When he looks at you,
I've seen all this before. I'm an old man. I've been through what you're going through.
Self-imposed suffering. So I just thought that
empathetic.
So we're getting close to that time. Do we want to do what we normally do, where we just kind of throw out a reading there?
Yeah. Why not?
See how we interpret.
Why not?
Okay. Which deck do you want to use? So what we're going to do now is that I always like to take the card
and put a couple next to it,
and put some next to it and see. Because just looking at a card, it's one thing, and we can say that it looks like, this is wisdom, this is knowledge, this is somebody, this is the agent. But the real story doesn't happen until we put another card next to it.
I totally agree. So I'll go with my Rider-Waite-Smith this time. You do something.
I'm going to go with the Oswald Worth, because the Worth is becoming my favorite.
Yeah. It's got that.
It's such an in-between.
It's French school, not English school. So it's not Golden Dawn, but it definitely has esoteric, but it's in the Marseille tradition, and it's French. I definitely love the Oswald Worth deck. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
So
you want to go first, or you want me to?
I want you to go first.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with.
Or I can go first, either way.
You choose.
No. You go ahead and go first.
Okay. All right. So we're starting with the Hermit of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And I will just do one last quick shuffle here for the energy.
What am I doing? I'm not doing a reading. I'm just doing a. Oh, I lost my card.
Oh no!
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna just pull 2 more cards here.
Okay.
And
I was sitting here thinking I'm actually going to do a reading.
Not a full reading.
Okay, nope. Okay, 1 second. Well, go ahead.
Okay, so to the Hermit's back in the future, we have the 5 of Cups. Is that the
6?
6 of Cups. I'm sorry, it's upside down. And it's been a long day. So. 6 of Cups reversed is to the future. And to the And to the past is the 10 of coins reversed. I don't know why all these are coming reversed usually, but they are. So we'll work with. I'll work with what I got. Okay, so this card, the 10 of Pentacles, has to do with the inheritance and the passing of generation to the next generation. So having that in the past, it's almost like he's reflecting on the family history that he has. Maybe the history of the tarot. He's reflecting back on that. But in the future.
Actually, let's bring this over here so people can see. There we go. That would be nice of us, wouldn't it?
Yeah. You want to see what's going on too? All right. But yeah, so towards the future is this card, the Six of Cups, which is all about, again, interesting, reminiscing on the past, those happier days, creating a safe space. So both of these cards really are cards of reflection. One, here's the grandfather that is, sitting with, looking at the family and saying, how's my legacy going to be carried on? And this is like a snapshot photo of looking back at like your childhood and those happier days. It's in this protected garden. We've got the little guy here in the corner protecting the safe space. But interestingly, both cards are all about reflection and looking back at things, which is really what the Hermit does, and is to look back and gain knowledge for moving forward.
Can I say what?
Yeah, please.
So, when I'm looking at this deck, I've never noticed how sad the Hermit looks.
He does.
I mean, he looks amazingly sad. Like he's reflecting on a past and what he had. Maybe that was him as a young man. And that's his father. And the wife looks somewhat dejected, and he's even ignoring his children over here. So I see this Hermit, and he's like, here I had all this stuff.
These mistakes.
And yet, this is where I'm at. And so what does he have to look forward to in the future? These are the sad memories that he has left.
Oh.
I know. Well, and so if this was a reading and I was, it's like, what is it that you
hold on to the happy, but
what is it that you're missing?
Or what do you regret?
What are you taking for granted?
What do you want to fix before you're gone?
Are you this guy right here who's not even noticing? And are you going to be this sad old man in the future looking back?
Yeah.
And this is such a sad reading to me.
It really is. But it can be like a moment of taking a step out, taking some me time to figure out, what have I done with my life, and what do I need to set right before I go, because I don't have much time left, and it's all going to be in the past soon. So now's the time to
and that's the advice of the tarot.
Right.
And that's what makes the tarot so amazing, because I see this and it's like, wow, and he is really just reflecting on the past there.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I would say to somebody, you need to make a choice.
Or you need to figure out what's important.
Wake up. You need to see you need to rise above. Like this person here, you need to raise your consciousness and see.
Because time is slipping away.
That is a beautiful reading. I don't even know if I need to do another one because
we joined up on that one.
Well, and the thing is that I get really emotional with them. It's like I feel, and so I just feel like this is such a sad reading.
Yeah. That
it's an opportunity for somebody. If I was reading this, it's an opportunity for somebody to go back in time. So this is 30 years from now. It's like you have if only I could go back
If
only
I had a
could go
time
back.
machine.
You know, maybe I could turn this around and not.
But it's never too late. I'm the optimist. I like to think that now is a time for reflection. Now is the time to get your ducks in a row. You might not have much time left because you're an old man, but you can still leave a legacy of happiness. Make your amends, with the people that you care about, because, there's no time like the day.
Boy, this has made me feel so sad now. It's like after this, I'm going to have to do another reading. 'Cause, wow, I really feel that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
You want to do one to cheer us up?
No. Because I think that
That was so
in
perfect.
my mind,
That was such a
I
good-
just got that, and it's like I think that just made a statement
Sounds good.
to me.
Yeah. No,
Normally I'm the one that's always wanting to do this.
I know. I'm surprised.
But I saw that and it was almost tearful.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Well, they can't all be happy.
Yeah, so anyway, this has been pretty amazing and a lot of fun, and we're going to be doing, what are we going to do next week, Michael?
The wheel.
The Wheel of Fortune. Hey,
Get Pat Sajak and
yes. So, and so it was, we had an incident in the house with COVID. I didn't get it, and
I didn't either.
and my partner didn't get it, and so, but we wanted to keep it
Be safe. Yep.
And so we held off for the week.
And kind of ironically, it was the Hermit. So it's like we were both hermiting away for weeks. We took a week off.
We reflected.
Yep. Now we're back better than ever. So next week we'll keep the wheel turning, and
Yeah. And I hope that somebody got something out of this.
Yeah.
Because I always do. And Michael, thank you again.
always a pleasure.
Because I always learn something.
Me too.
So, anything else?
That's it.
Okay, I could do this for another 2 hours.
I know.
I could sit our spouses down and we could just sit here and eat meals and sit here and bore them to death.
It was fun though.
I know.
We'll see you next week.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.